All right, we are starting our new unit, and our big idea for this unit is that formulas can be used to determine the perimeter of a polygon, the area of rectangles, and the volume of rectangular prisms. And we are going to start today with perimeter of polygons. Now remember, polygon is any kind of shape that is a closed shape and has no curved sides. So perimeter, if we remember, is the distance around the outside edge. So that means when we have this polygon, in order to figure out the perimeter, we are going to add side 1, side 2, side 3, and side 4. So 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 8 is 18, plus 3, 2 would be 20, one more is 21. So 21, and it says the units is centimeters, and for perimeter it just stays centimeters. So 21 centimeters would be the perimeter of this shape. We're going to go on to look at a variety of different shapes and what kinds of different formulas would be used based on which kind of shape we are looking at for perimeter. All right, so first we're going to look at this irregular polygon. So again, it's a polygon because it's a closed shape. It has all kinds of different length sides. Okay. Again, perimeter is the distance around the polygon. So distance around a polygon, really important. So again, in this case, it's an irregular polygon. They're all different sizes. So our formula for this one would be P equals, and you should put P equals because that tells us we're finding the perimeter, which is really helpful when we're memorizing formulas. So we don't mix up perimeter and area. So as much as students don't like to write the P because they think it's one extra step, I highly recommend it because it helps you to later on remember which is a perimeter formula and which is an area formula. So P equals, and in this case it would be side 1 plus side 2, side 3, side 4, side 5, and side 6. Oops, 6. And they're added. And because they're all different lengths, we do this kind of a formula. Side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4 plus side 5 plus side 6 plus side... And you would do that for however many side lengths there are. Once we add all of our sides up, our answer would be 182. It's in millimeters, so it's 182 millimeters for the perimeter of this hexagon. And it's called a hexagon because it has 6 sides. It would be considered an irregular hexagon because those sides are not the same length. It's not the regular kind of hexagon that you are used to looking at because it's an irregular hexagon. Any 6-sided shape is considered a hexagon. So just reviewing some geometry there as well. So our rule then is that for any polygon we can find the perimeter by adding the side length. So you'll find this formula will work for any polygon and it would just be the number of sides that the shape happens to have. So perimeter can be side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4 for the number of sides the shape has. And this works really well when it's an irregular sided shape and those sides are not the same length. We can use slightly different formulas when the shape has sides that are equal. So we're going to look at that. All right, so now we're going to look at a square or an equal-sided shape. This would work for a regular hexagon as well. It would work for any shape that has equal side lengths. Must have equal side lengths, otherwise this doesn't work. Okay, so we could still add side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4. That would still work. But if you know your multiplication rules, you know that 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 is the same as 4 times 9. So in this case, our formula would be perimeter equals side length times 4, because there's 4 sides. If this shape happened to have 5 equal sides, it would be side length times 5. If it had 6 equal sides, it would be side length times 6. But if we have a shape that has all equal sides, we can multiply it by the side length. Okay, here they've written a perimeter equals 4 times the length. I've just gone with side. Either one works, it doesn't really matter. And again, with perimeter, we're going to end up with centimeters, and when we multiplied 4 times 9, we ended up with 36. So the perimeter of this square is 36 centimeters. Okay, and as we just said, a square has 4 equal sides, so that's the key there. So the rule for finding the perimeter of any square is multiplying the side length by 4. Now we've extended that to say if it's an equal-sided shape, we can multiply the side length by the number of equal sides. So we've extended that beyond just a square. It could be for a regular hexagon where all sides are the same. Could be for a regular octagon where all sides are the same. A heptagon with 7 sides, all sides the same. All you would change is this number of sides. So that's our second kind of formula for a different sort of polygon for perimeter. Now we're going to look at the perimeter of this parallelogram. And a parallelogram is just like a rectangle in that it has 2 equal sides and 2 equal sides. Okay, again, we could just add all of the sides, 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4, okay, and find out the perimeter. But there's a lot of possible varieties here for this rectangle, and for any rectangle or, for this parallelogram, as well as for any parallelogram or any rectangle where you have 2 sides that are one length and 2 sides that are another length. Okay, here what they've done is they've gone side length, length plus width in brackets, and length plus width in brackets plus 2, which really means we've got 2 groups of that. So we could say 2 times length plus width, and knowing our rules of order of operations, in order to have to add this first, it must be in brackets. So our formula there could be 2 times bracket length plus width bracket. The brackets indicate this has to be done first, then we would multiply, which is the only way that would work. Okay, they've called it length plus side, but more commonly you'll see length times width. If you were to do it this way, our formula would be perimeter equals length plus width plus length plus width. Oops. Okay, that's another possible formula. And as you can see, 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 10. 2 groups of 10 is 20. Or we can also see here the 2 times 6 plus 4. Again, that's going to be 10. Still 2 times 10 is still 20. Here they've got it in centimeters, and here they have it in meters. That's a slight mistake on their part. That should be centimeters. Good job. So, as we said, a parallelogram that has 2 pairs of congruent sides. So these are congruent, these are congruent. Remember, congruent means the same. The rule for finding the perimeter of any parallelogram and rectangle, because a rectangle would also apply and have 2 congruent sides and 2 congruent sides. You can add the measures of the longer side and the shorter side and then multiply by 2. So this is our formula here. Length plus side, they've said. We've said length plus width. And of course you have to multiply by that by 2, putting that in a bracket. So that's that's the other formula we talked about. There's one more way to look at this. So we've done length plus width plus length plus width, where we've added all of the sides up, okay? And it can't be side 1 and side 2 because look at side 1 and side 3 in this case would be the same. So it cannot be here. The formula cannot be side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4. It would have to become length plus width plus length plus width. Oops, I forgot a length in there. Let me fix that. Length plus width plus length plus width. Okay, could not be a side 1, side 2 kind of a rule because our sides are the same. Okay. The other option is to go like this. Multiply these two sides, so multiply the two lengths. And if there's no sign in between it, that means that we are multiplying, okay? Plus the two widths, or the two, they call it sides here. Again, it's more often width. So you could have two lengths multiplied plus two widths multiplied, and that would also equal your perimeter. And that means then that we are adding our lengths, which are 11 and 11, which makes it 22. And then we're adding our widths, which are 6 and 6, which is 12. So 2 times 6, 2 times 11 equals 22 and 12, and we add those up to equal 34 centimeters. Now, just to check, we're going to try it with another formula. We had our length plus width times 2 formula. Length plus width, 11 plus 6 is 17. 17 times 2 is, in fact, 34. That's a nice way to check, is to use two different formulas and see if you come up with the same answer. If you do, you've probably done it correctly. All right, so let's review. For an irregular sided shape, it would be perimeter equals side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3, and however many sides there happen to be. For a regular sided shape where all sides are equal, and pretend we're looking at a square, then it would be perimeter equals side times 4. Now, make sure your S's look like S's and not like 5s, so be careful about that. If you have a rectangle or a parallelogram where two side lengths are the same and two side lengths are the same, parallelogram, then you have a number of possible formulas. Perimeter equals length plus width plus length plus width is one. Perimeter equals 2 times length plus width in brackets is another. And lastly, perimeter equals 2L, 2 times length, plus 2W, 2 times width works as well. So any of those will work. Now let's move on to some practice. All right, so we're going to practice with these shapes. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about the cross-hatching mark. So if there's marks like this, that means if they're all got 2 on them, all of these are the same length. Okay? Here there's no lines whatsoever. None of them are the same length. Here there's 2 lines. These 2 are the same length. These 2 are the same length. And again here, one's all the way around, one line all the way around. They are all the same length. So make sure that you are writing a formula and then calculating. Okay, so it says just write the formula, but I'd like you to afterwards calculate the answer. There we go, calculate the answer. Okay, has to have a formula and a calculation. Just to make things easier, let's give our side lengths some numbers. They would like you to measure it, but on an iPad, of course, that becomes a difficulty. So we're going to assign side lengths and side measures. So this one's going to be 1. We're going to assume they're all in centimeters. This one is going to be 6, 5, and 3. Here they're all the same side length, and we're going to assume they're 2 centimeters. Here they're all the same side length. We're going to assume each one is 3 centimeters. Here we've got 2 equal ones, so the 2 line ones, let's make them 5 centimeters. And the one line ones, let's make them 3 centimeters. Okay, so pretending that those are the side lengths, since you can't really measure it on your iPad or Chromebook or whatever it is that you happen to be using, we're going to assume those are our measures. Remember to include a formula and a final answer. Press pause and try those now on paper. All right, let's take a look at our first one. A. It would be a irregular shape, so it's side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4, and there's no other option. That's what it would have to be. Okay. To figure this out then, we would have to add all of the side lengths. So let's go 6 plus 1 plus 5 plus 3. Well, 6 plus 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10. Add 1 more, or add 5 more is 15. So 15 centimeters for our irregular quadrilateral. Remember, it's a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides. All right, now we're going to try our triangle. And the formula in this case, because they're all the same sides, side lengths, it cannot be side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3. It would have to be, I guess it could be side 1 plus side 1 plus side 1, because they're all the same length, okay? Or it could be, and probably better, would be side times 3, because there's 3 sides of equal length. So side is 2, 2 times 3 then is 6. 6 centimeters would be our perimeter, which if we check 2, 4, 6, yep, that's correct. And remember, centimeters, you have to have your units. It's just centimeters for a perimeter. All right, let's take a look at our rectangle. Now, our rectangle can have lots of different formulas. So let's review. Perimeter equals, we could have length plus width plus length plus width. Or we could have perimeter equals 2 times length plus width, and that must be in brackets, order of operations, so we do this part first. Or we could have 2 times length plus 2 times width. We could do that without the multiplication sign in the middle there, that's fine too. We don't actually even need the brackets for that actually, because if we know the order of operations, we would do our multiplication first. I'm going to take those out because we don't want them there really. Any one of them is going to end up with the same answer. Let's try it and be sure. So we had, oh, I moved my numbers there just a second. There we go, sorry about that. Those numbers got moved and it was confusing me, and I'm sure it might have been confusing you as well. So if we went length plus width plus length plus width, it would be 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 3. 5 and 3 is 8. 8 and 8 is 16. 16 centimeters. If we went 2 times length times width, well, 2 times and length plus width, 5 plus 3 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16, also 16 centimeters. Last way, 2 times 5 plus 2 times 3, 2 times length plus 2 times width. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 times 3, which is 6, still equals 16. So as you can see, any formula of those 3 formulas will work. Those are the appropriate formulas for rectangles or parallelograms, 2-sided shapes, or 4-sided shapes that have 2 congruent lines and 2 congruent lines. And now we're on to our last shape. And our last shape is actually a what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-sided shape. What is the name of a 6-sided shape? Well, the prefix for 6-sided is hexa, so it is a hexagon. And again, this would be side length times the number of sides. We just counted there were 6 regular sides, all the same length. So side times 6 would be our formula. Perimeter then equals 3 times 6. 3 times 6 is 18, so our perimeter for our hexagon is 8 centimeters. All right, we are now on to our concept practice. Formulas for finding perimeter is the key, so do you think it's important to show a formula? Yes. That is the only difference, in fact, between grade 5 and grade 6 perimeter work, is that grade 6s are expected to know the different formulas for the different shapes. So a formula is necessary along with the work. As always, you need to show both. You are working on page 229 and 230, numbers 1, 6, and 9. Again, formula and work are mandatory. Remember, if you have questions along the way, that you please ask. All right, and in case you've misplaced or forgotten your textbook, here once again are the questions. Here you will see 1, 2, 3. 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8 and 9, and the reflect prompt. Again, as you're working, if you have any questions, please remember to ask.